These are the books I finished this month. These are the books I'm carrying from previous TBRs. And these are the books that I plan to read this summer. Let's talk about it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Joven from The Global Show, a show where I talk about my latest hyperfixations. And this summer's hyperfixation is a bunch of books, a lot of books, a bunch of them. So before we get into June and this entire summer's TBR, I just want to go through the books that I've finished so far from previous TBRs. So I have finished Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, and wow, this book was amazing. This will definitely be a full review in the future. Keep a lookout for that. I'll also be reviewing. Where do I have it? I'm currently working on my review for the Song of Achilles. Be on the lookout for that. It's probably coming out sooner rather than later. If you want to make sure to know when it comes out, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss when that comes out. And remember, the Galogo Show is sponsored by viewers like you. And if you like what you see here and you want to support, you can buy me a coffee. Click the link below and I can enjoy a cup of joe or a cup of tea with the books that I'll be reading this summer. Thanks. So back to Piranesi. This is definitely at minimum a 4.5 star read. It might be a 5-star read. I have to sit on it a little bit longer. Again, a review on this will probably coming out soon. As stated before, my book club read The Perfect Marriage. I have thoughts that definitely might need at least a short review on, but just letting you know, I don't think I'm going to be reading The Perfect Divorce just based on this. It could be wrong. Could be. But don't think this is my cup of tea. So what from previous TBRs is still on my TBR and what I'm currently reading right now. The first thing, Terry Pratchett's Small Worlds from Discworld. This, I've read just a little bit of it, not too much. I got distracted by other books, but definitely a book that I'm going to be finishing up hopefully this month. I think I can get through it pretty quickly. The next book that I'm reading currently is Red Rising. Holy crap. I'm still pretty early in on this, but the way this is written, I can tell I'm going to love it. And nothing's even really happened yet. That's the scary thing. And yeah, I know I'm so in love with this already. This is gonna be great. Pierce Brown, you got me hooked now. And from what I can tell, it's technically nothing's really happened yet. But the way this is written, I just love it. I finished part 1 so far of the Well of Ascension, and yeah, it's definitely again, from what I've heard, Sanderson books start off a bit slow, but I can already see so many things being set up and how this part 1 ends. Whew. I'm ready. I'm ready to just dig into the rest of the Mistborn Era 1 trilogy. This is great. And though I did have it on my TBR, I haven't actually started The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. But fun fact, I saw that it got picked up from film rights from, I think, James Cameron. So this is definitely a book that I think will likely need to be read in the next few years, because it could be hype for that eventual movie that will possibly come out. And if it's James Cameron who ends up, I think it's James Cameron. If I'm wrong, the screen will be flashing wrong, Joven, you're wrong. But I'm ready to dig into this month. As soon as this month. Yeah. Now from that big stack of books from the intro, I'm actually going to be breaking my TBR down into, I guess it's quarters, but seasons. But I will be updating my progress every month. But basically, I'm giving myself a list of books that I want to read over the next 3 months. And let's just get into it right now. Obviously, 2 books that are going to be on my TBR are obviously, once I finish through those other books, Hero of Ages and Golden Sun. So obviously, I'm reading through these series right now. These are obviously going to be on my TBRs. And obviously, the next part after I finish Mistborn Era 1 with Hero of Ages and the Cosmere, my next step will be Elantris. Heard this is Brandon Sanderson's first published book, and it's one of his weaker novels from what I've heard. But I don't know. I think I'm diving full head into the Cosmere. I think I'm gonna like it. So when I get to it, I'll let you know my thoughts. The only other series that I'm planning to start this summer is the Sun Eater series with Empire of Silence. I've heard book 1 is the slow book, but you know, I have book 2 already, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get to it this summer. But definitely, this is the next series that's on my bat. Maybe when I finish the Red Rising trilogy, this will be what I will be reading next. With the hype of Catabasis by R.F. Kuang coming this August, I figured I might as well dive into the author. So, 2 books I'm adding to my TBR this summer are Yellowface by R.F. Kuang and Babel. I really have heard so much hype between just these 2 books. And I've heard so much hype about Catabasis, and I really want to get into R.F. Kuang, so might as well start now before that comes out in August, because if I get it, I may love it. Or, who knows? But, these 2 books getting added. I'm also trying to get into some Japanese literature, so I'm going to be reading Days at the Morisaki Bookshop. It's pretty small. I could probably finish this tonight if I wanted. But I've heard good things. Heard it's pretty cozy read, pretty small, early gateway into Japanese literature. This is the book that I'm going to be reading to start that journey this summer. I'm also going to try to get into thrillers this summer, and why not go with S.A. Cosby? I've heard so many good things, so I'm going to be reading Razorblade Tears this summer. I've heard so many good things about him as an author. Heard this is one of his best, from what the people, the booktubers, the book talkers that have recommended this book. This seems right up my alley, so I'm stoked. And now on to sci-fi. 2 books that I'm planning on reading this summer are Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir and the first book in the Foundation series, aptly named Foundation by Isaac Asimov. Both of these I heard they're very different in terms of what I've heard hyped about them. This one is one of the best standalones in sci-fi, so definitely ready to read that. And Foundation, from just the premise alone, with the psychohistory that I've heard about, it's so intriguing. I'm definitely wanting to start this. If I like this book, I'm going to continue through the rest of Asimov's works. So I'm ready. And last but certainly not least, the book that I'm adding to my summer TBR is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. I've heard this, the fight magic system is very similar to Avatar The Last Airbender. I've heard this is a real emotionally heavy book. And after the Song of Achilles, once I've gone through some of these books, I'm going to go into this dense, thick boy. I'm probably going to cry, just like how I was emotionally wrecked by the Song of Achilles. This is probably going to emotionally wreck me again. So yeah, those are all my books that I'm planning on adding to my summer TBR. Obviously, some of these books might be pushed off. Some books might be added in. Some books I might finish. Some books I might finish really quickly. But, that's why I'm going to update you guys monthly. So come back in July and see where I am on this huge, massive TBR that I'm putting for myself. And you might be asking, Joven, why are you putting this big TBR? And it's because I want to push myself, okay? I know that I'm probably not going to finish like most of these books by the end of summer. But I just look, all these books I've read so far, restart my reading journey, I've really loved. And I love reading again. And I know when I was younger, I was reading books in like 2 days, 3 days at most. And I want to have that joy again, And I think this summer is the perfect opportunity to just fully rev up my engines and just continue reading. So yeah, that's my plan. So wherever and whenever you are in the world, I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you. Signing off.